Well, directly tied to what happens at our southern border, Colombian drug traffickers are being busted for their latest scheme to launder money in the U.S. Federal authorities say drug lords recruited a number of Colombians to do their dirty work. Some set up fake businesses with corporate bank accounts, and then others would fly into the U.S. and deposit entire duffel bags full of cash into those accounts using ATMs. Then the fake businesses could wire the so-called clean money through various financial networks, but ultimately back into the hands of the cartels who were pulling the strings in Colombia. The feds were tipped off when some of these companies funneled millions through their accounts, and the money mules were all caught on those ATM cameras. So let's bring in former U.S. Marshal and retired Deputy Chief at the El Paso Police Department, Robert Almonte. Robert, so great to see you again. There's a lot to tackle here. What makes this new method of laundering cash through the U.S. using ATMs unique from methods used in the past?
Well, I have to tell you, the cartels, the Mexican cartel and the Colombian cartel, always seem to be a step ahead of us, of U.S. law enforcement. Fortunately, we're right on their heels, as you can see from this example. FBI, HSI, all the law enforcement agencies involved in this investigation did a tremendous job. So the Colombian cartel was using this different method. They were using a fake business, and then they were depositing cash in different ATMs throughout the United States to these fake businesses, and then the money wired back to Colombia. That's one way of doing it. The other, that's the newer method of doing it, to be honest with you. So there's no doubt in my mind that the Mexican cartels are doing the same as well. This is important. Why is this important? Because this is how you hurt the drug organization, Colombia or Mexico, by taking their money away. So that's why I'm glad to see the federal law enforcement agency focus on doing just that. Because quite frankly, not millions, billions of dollars every year of drug money leave the United States and go to Colombia and go to Mexico. So this is just one example of money laundering. There's other methods as well, but this is one that the Colombians have been using.
Yeah, and looking at those pictures there. So, Robert, in one example, and we alluded to it a bit at the top, but two companies had 0 employees. They did 0 business, but in about a year, they had funneled more than $7.5 million through their bank accounts. Does this almost make it easier for investigators to spot?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, to be honest with you, because in the past, at least the cartels in Colombia and Mexico, at least they would go to the trouble of actually having a business set up at the front where they was actually generating income. It was the front, and they still do that, but in this case, they didn't even bother to do that. They just came up with a fake business name and didn't even bother to create a business front. So that certainly did help the authorities track them down, no doubt about it.
And Robert, this is something that I was a little scratching my head about, I guess, because there's another drawback, which we also mentioned at the top. All ATMs have bank security cameras, multiple cameras. Wouldn't that, you think, serve as some type of deterrent? Because again, these money mules were caught on camera.
Yeah, that tells you just how much they're doing it and how often they're doing it. Because they knew that. They know there's cameras there, but they don't think that they're being watched. They don't think that anybody's paying attention, but they were wrong here because the feds were paying attention and took them down. But there's cameras everywhere. So there's so many different methods of sending drug money back to the country. Another very popular method used by the Mexican cartel.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.